Okay, so welcome back. This is part 3 in our series where we develop this C# Windows Forms application. And as we discussed in the first two videos, the functionality of this is it provides a date and time, which is updated every second, but it also provides a reading every 5 minutes of the outside temperature, local temperature outside, and also an indoor temperature that we get from an Arduino with a temperature sensor. Okay, and the outside temperature we get from a web API going to a free weather service website. The other thing that this application does is it every 5 minutes grabs the time and date, indoor and outdoor temperatures, and logs that to a CSV file. So in this video, we're going to talk about what that CSV looks like and how we can chart it in Excel, and also look at a real-world application, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to develop this, some real-world results where we're going to see how running powerful GPUs on your computer might or might not raise the room temperature where you're running those, and to what extent does it actually happen, and what are the other factors at play. So we're going to talk about the results of these some of these measurements in this video. Now, when you save the CSV, again, this overwrites a CSV with all the readings since this application started. It overwrites a CSV file every 5 minutes, and what you can do is if you double click on that CSV file, it will likely automatically start it in Excel. That's what it does for me. Anytime it associates a CSV file with Excel, and here is the results of about a 24-hour period. And you can see I've got time of day, internal and external temperature. Now, one thing you're going to want to do is to make sure you fit the width of these columns to the data, so you can double click on these dividers between the columns and it will automatically fit the column width to the data. So here you can see I've got the date and time, temperatures, and when we saved it using CSV helper in the previous video, I encourage you to take a look at those. These are properties of a class called log data, and these are the names of the properties, and it automatically gives you the top of the column header is the name of the properties in the CSV in the class that we saved it. So it's very nice. CSV helper automatically names the columns and then gives you all of the data. And in my case, I've got just under 300 samples, 5-minute samples of data. So the first thing you can do is you can select the column headers and go up here to insert, and over here is the chart section. And what I do is go down to the bottom right, this kind of a grayed out arrow thing, and it gives you a list of all the types of charts you can use. And I go to the XY scatter. Generally, I always go to XY scatter when I'm charting things like this. And then XY scatter, you go down here, and here's the possible XY scatter. This last one is just straight lines. It doesn't do any curving of the lines. It just does a straight line. And there you go. You've got your chart of 24 hours worth of indoor and outdoor temperatures. So you can expand that. What I do is I get rid of these labels, hit delete. And here in the blue, I've got the indoor temperature. You can see it bounces around between maybe 70 and 80 degrees. And then the outdoor temperature goes from just below 50 up to 75, okay? Now, another thing you can do is you can select this Y-axis with the temperatures, right-click, Format Axis, and since we don't care about anything below about 40 degrees, we can just set the axis minimum to a fixed value and type in 40 and hit enter, and that just gives us a little bit better view of the data. So here is the actual over about a 24-hour period, actual temperatures indoor and outdoor. Now, how can I use this, or how did I use this data for a real-world application? Well, here is an example of a measurement I did of room temperature. I've got about a 12 by 12 foot office, and I've measured the room temperature rise that occurs when I'm running 2 GPUs simultaneously on my computer, and they're running at maximum, and I ran them for over 3 hours continuously, okay? One of them is rated 250 watts, the other one's rated 215 watts. This 215 is an RTX 2070 Super, and the 250 is a GTX 1080 Ti. And that might tell you that some of the newer GPUs are using less power. They're more efficient, they use less power and give you higher performance. So that's another reason why, another thing to keep in mind about newer GPUs, they don't use as much power as the older ones, and they give you better performance. So you might see this and say, okay, this guy's rated 250, this one's 215. You add those together, that would be like 465 watts. So you might be thinking, when these things are running at max, doing a 3D render or whatever, I might be getting 465 watts. Well, no, these are rated, and these assume kind of a worst case. If you look down here, I actually measured that with a watt meter and found out that the GPUs, the additional power that they were using alone, is about 320 watts. Okay, so it's not anywhere near the 465 that they're rated. So 320 watts additional, and I measured it over about a 3 or 4 hour period. And you can see here that clearly the graph goes up from, it starts at about 70, just under 76 degrees Fahrenheit, and goes up to about 82 degrees Fahrenheit over a 3 hour period. So this kind of gives you a ballpark feel for this situation. Now keep in mind, this is 2 powerful GPUs running simultaneously at maximum, and it's over a 3 hour period. So if you're going to run 2 GPUs for 3 hours at maximum, this might give you at least a ballpark idea of what you can expect. And it comes out to about 2 degrees Fahrenheit every hour, all right? Now again, that assumes, what's the outdoor temperature? Do you have the windows open? Is it hot outside? Is that affecting your room temperature? Is it really cold outside? Do you have the windows open? So it depends. I just did this in a room where the indoor and outdoor temperatures are about the same. Windows are closed, so there's not a lot of effect of the outdoor temperature. But you can see, ballpark 2 degrees per hour, kind of a worst case if you're running 2 GPUs for 3 hours. Now, that's not the whole story, and I think people don't think about this in depth. They just think, oh, I've got powerful GPUs, it's going to go crazy and the temperatures are going to go nuts. Well, there's other factors to consider. And another test I did is shown in this graph, where I measured the room temperature after I entered the room in the morning. So in the morning, the room temperature started out about 72.3 degrees. And I just had my computer on idle. So at idle, it was 72 degrees. And what I did is I entered the room, I turned on a couple lights, and I turned on some computer monitors. And that alone, my presence plus the computer monitors plus the lights, caused this increase in temperature, okay? And again, the outside temperature wasn't changing very much, so it's not an effect of the outside temperature. In 3 hours, it went from about 72.3 up to 74.6. And you can see it kept going up. In 4 hours, it was almost up to 75.5. So ballpark, we're talking about 1 degree, just under 1 degree Fahrenheit per hour. Again, that depends on your room and the outdoor temperatures and a lot of things. But in my case, I kind of assume that if I enter a room and turn stuff on, I'm going to get about 1 degree Fahrenheit per hour. Now, The one thing that people don't consider is that you yourself generate heat, okay? Your temperature is 98.6 Fahrenheit. That is generating heat in the room. Your presence generates heat. And in fact, your presence generates about the same heat as a 100-watt light bulb, okay? So I measured, I assumed I'm a 100-watt light bulb, and then I've got 3 computer monitors that are about 30 watts each. So that's 90, so 190. And then I've got a couple room lights, and that comes up to about 220 watts additional just by me coming into the room. So my presence is going to raise the temperature, I kind of assume, about 1 degree Fahrenheit per hour. No GPUs, nothing else running, just my computer on idle, me and some monitors and some lights. So when you look at the GPU temperature rise, keep in mind part of that is me and the lights and the computer monitors also warming up the room. So the GPUs alone are not going to raise it 2 degrees Fahrenheit per hour. It's going to be something less because part of that is my presence, 100 watts, and some lights and monitors. So this was a really nice way of getting to the actual facts using this monitor, this application that we developed to monitor indoor and outdoor temperatures. And you can use this for a lot of things. The thermal sensor that we're using with the Arduino that we talked about in the previous video, very inexpensive, and it's a great way to actually get real numbers and not just go on intuition and stuff you see on the internet. Okay, so I still haven't discussed how we grab these outdoor temperatures from the web using web APIs. I may do a part 4 where we discuss. Honestly, it's a bit of a pain to do, and I don't know if I have the energy to go through this. If anybody cares about it, and if anybody lasts through 3 parts, let me know. But anyway, that's about it for this one. Take care and have a really good day. Thanks.